So before we get into the topic at hand, I feel like I need to sage the house a little bit. Wow. Jesus Christ, guys. That was a hell of a journey. That was not for play. I've done a lot of things in my life. Like I've done a lot. And I would definitely say this was one of the most challenging. Before I went into it, obviously I had to go through a lot of different ceremonies and rituals, and they're always wanting to find out how is it that you're trying to achieve here? What is it that you want to see occur? And why are you doing this? Because if you're just looking to, get closer to my spiritual self, stay at home. That's what they said to us, right? So I know why I'm doing this, but I didn't feel like that was the only reason why I'm doing this. Because for some reason, this year started off exactly how this year is already seeing itself to show compared to last year. Like last year, I started off in Colombia Christmas Eve doing cocaine. Then we found ourselves in Portugal doing mushrooms, and dark spirit, light spirit, appreciation of value versus depreciation of value of cocaine compared to mushrooms. Find that in other episodes. This year, we started on the top of Tabletop Mountain or Table Mountain, South Africa, and I was alone, diving into self, diving into the mind, trying to understand what it is that I'm supposed to be doing because I know it's something special, but hasn't fully come. So I decide that me and my partner, we come to San Chris and we meet up with this group who I didn't know it at the time, but they come from the Lakota tribe. The Lakota tribe is one of the indigenous tribes of Mexico, as well as the Americas, because everybody traveled a little bit more, no passports. And so I went to one of their sweat lodges. I've talked about sweat lodges in other episodes, but sweat lodges are dope. It's a Native American built like igloo that you go inside. It's pitch black. They're bringing in these hot stones. They close all the walls. You can't even see your hand in front of your face. And they begin to pour water on it, chanting, water, da, da, da. I don't know what they're saying, but what I learned is if you chant with them, it's much easier. It's much easier if you join the collective rather than trying to go through it alone. But it gets hot. It gets so hot that sometimes it feels as though your skin is burning. You got to try to put your head as close to the earth because the earth is sending up very cold temperatures to you. Right? Me and Vanessa, we go to one of these sweat lodges. And after the sweat lodge, I'm talking to the girl who's running it, the woman who's running it, shout out to Marie. And she was like, oh, we're all doing this because we're getting ready to go on a vision quest. And I'm like, vision quest? My bosses out in Portugal, very spiritual people, they were telling me I had to do a vision quest. But when I went on Google to find vision quest, they typically were running $1.5 thousand for the 3 days. Some were running $3,000 up in Spain and Portugal. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm down to do it. I just got to find a time that I can go there, set up, yada, yada. But when I'm talking to Marie, she's like, oh yeah, we're getting ready to do our vision quest in 2 weeks. I look at Vanessa, I'm like, Vanessa. And Vanessa's like, but we already have tickets bought to fly to Mexico City this weekend or last weekend, the weekend that just passed while I was on the vision quest. And I looked at her and she said, I know. And I'm like, all right, we're in. And that's what you guys have been seeing me do the preparation for to get to this thing. So a little bit of background. Now I show up to the event. I have my prayer ties, which we can go into if you guys are interested, just let me know. But prayer ties are supposed to outline your space as a way to keep it so that it's safe for the ancestors to enter, as well as for negative spirits, negative energies to stay out. So I had a whole ritual, ceremony, and journey creating those vision ties. It was not an easy process, but as always, we get her done. We finish the ties, we show up to the event. It's the morning of. I've been helping them build the actual sweat lodge. So when we get there, first thing first, we got to do the inipi. So an inipi is a sweat lodge, but it's hotter than the normal sweat lodge, which I didn't even know that existed. We have to do a hotter sweat lodge, but they have shorter doors because you go through 4 rounds of very extreme sweating. But this time when we're in there, it's pitch black and we're all talking about what it is that we're trying to achieve on this pilgrimage that we're about to take. And people are in there already crying. You can tell. This is a heavy situation. Me, I know I'm going in there because I'm ready to find my home. But not only my home, but to understand what it is that I need to do once I get there. Because this year has been nothing but the mindset of confidence, clarity, and consistency. If we don't have that, then we failed the year. That's the way that I started this year, and that's what I have achieved, but that's what is going to continue to be. So everybody's in there talking, going around. You go through one session, you go through a second session, you come out, now it's time. I mean, you've already begun the burning and the fire. Everything is in place because that's how we do. And we come out. Funny thing is, everybody's supposed to have a supporter with them. Because keep in mind, everybody, we're doing 3 nights, 4 days of no water, no food, alone in the mountains. It's just you. And you can't leave the area that has been outlined by your prayer ties. So somebody has to eat on your behalf and somebody has to drink on your behalf. I know, right? How are you going to drink for me? How are you going to drink for me? People drink for you. And so we begin this process, and everybody's coming with their boyfriends or coming with their girlfriends, husbands, wife, children. Everybody's bringing a supporter. My supporter, unfortunately, she had to fly to Bali. So she was already on her way to Bali. So she can't come and be my supporter. Weirdly enough, when I first got that morning, I know I needed to get to the mountain. So I looked in the group chat. One other person was like, hey, I'm coming from St. Chris. Can I ride with somebody? And I was like, oh, for sure. Let's go together. And I ended up meeting this non-binary person named B from England, the only other English speaker at the event. B was told by a friend that she needs to come. The friend didn't give her no background information, so B is not prepared for what she has just signed up for. And so I'm pretty much telling her, like, girl, you do not know what you're about to do. And she's like, I know. I'm like, this girl tripping. So once we get there and B finally begins to realize, shit, I'm tripping. I was like, she's my supporter, because I didn't have a supporter. But I was just saying it in a joking manner. You know, I barely know the chick. But hey, shawty, if you want to drink for me, there's the ocean. So she says, okay, yeah, I'll drink for him. I'll drink for him. So now we begin the pilgrimage. They say, hey, B, grab his bags. You're his supporter. So now B is like, what the hell? I'm carrying this dude's bags up the mountain like we went to the Himalayas. And we begin the hike. We just came out of an inipi, which is the sweat lodge that I was telling you about. Fortunately, I done already scoped out my area. Got it to the side. So I put my shoes there, and I was like, that's where I'm sitting. It's perfect. It's the perfect spot. And I tell the dude, because at this point, we can't look at anybody. We can't make eye contact with anybody because your spirit has been engulfed in the inipi. And you're not supposed to entwine spirits while your spirit is now almost separate from you in a weird way. But I'm like, hey, to the leader, I'm like, tengo la espacia en montona. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I have a space in the mountain. And he's like, oh, where? And I'm like, it's up and then like to the side. And he's like, sorry, bro, we might not go that way. And I'm like, damn, I left my shoes over there. And so now we start walking. And funny enough, the leader, he makes this turn, and then he walks to my space first. And he's like, somebody's already here, we can't use it. And starts walking back. I'm like, hey, it's my espacia. He's like, Hunter, you want this? And I'm like, yes. He's like, oh, it's yours. First win. Now I get my little space. I create my area. We have these massive sticks that are called flags that are circling our area. And I'm now in my spot. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. This was the most boring shit I have ever done in my life. I swear to you. See, I've done many things. Vipassanas, sweat lodges, high-level hikes. I've done a lot of challenging things. I lived in a cult, for goddamn sake. But I swear to y'all, this was the most challenging adventure I would say I have went on. This was tough, bro, because there's something very special about lunch and breakfast and dessert, because those are like checkpoints in the day. You know, like you wake up and you start your day with a coffee or these ritual. Then you get to lunch. It's around 12 o'clock. You already been busting your balls. Now it's 12 o'clock. What do? You have lunch. And then once you get home and you're tired, but you're like, I'm ready to settle and have my dinner. Now you don't have any of it. So your day is just this long continuation. And then we're so doped up on dopamine that our mind is used to seeing something. Even if it's not scrolling your feed, it's still seeing advertisements. It's seeing people. It's seeing something change. we're used to something changing. When you're in the exact same spot for 4 days, only thing that's changing are the birds that fly by. And they don't come all the time. It's a lot of time that you're just sitting there. And God bless Paco. Paco is this dude who builds sweat lodges. That's his thing. And he came to my apartment because he was like, hey, I want to help you with creating these prayer ties. I'm like, hey, shout out to you, Paco. Me and Paco's getting ready to leave after teaching me how to make prayer ties. And he was like, I'm about to go buy a tarp. And I was like, why? And he was like, because in case it rains. I didn't even think about that kind of stuff. Like, my mind is just on, what am I going to experience? I'm not thinking toilet paper. I'm not thinking tarp. I'm not thinking sunscreen. I'm not thinking any of these things. I'm only here for the vibes. And so I run with Paco to buy some tarp. The tarp was one of the greatest things. I love that tarp. Much love to that tarp, because the tarp became my most all-purpose shield. It was my shield for everything, because I live in nice places, but they're always indoors. And so when the sun comes up, we open the windows or we close them if we want to sleep in. That doesn't exist in this world. I wake up to one of the strongest lights beaming down on me. Fortunately, there's a tree in front of it. But I look at the horizon, I go, wait, that just came from the east. That means it's going to be landing on the west. That means it's going to go over the tree. So you start thinking about all these things and you're like, oh shit, let me try to build some type of fort or else I'm going to get cooked out here. Because remember, you don't have any water for 4 days, 3 nights. So if you start toasting on the first day, you might not make it until the 3rd. So I build up that fort and I'm like, oh shit, kind of good at this. Some home improvement. And so now I'm there and I'm like, this ain't bad. I can handle this. I'm sleeping on the ground. I'm rolling around. I'm thinking about all these things. Then the sun disappears. Here comes the rain. So now the rain begins to drop slowly. And now I'm thinking, oh shit, thank God for the tarp. So I start making myself into a taco, laying there on the side of the ground as this rain begins to beat down on me. This is like the first day. I'm not used to this yet. I'm not used to this. I come out of the taco shell and I'm like, okay, whew, cool. We're good. And now the sun doesn't come back. Wind starts flowing in and my socks are cold. I have this big jacket on and I'm like, hey, we're going to make it through. This is day 1. Day 2 was something of the same, but the difference is by day 2, you're starting to understand how this world works. And you're like, okay, all right, I know what's about to happen. I know how to handle this. That's cool. But then the boredom really starts kicking in. And you're just like, there's nothing to do but to think. What do I think about? Then you start thinking about thinking. And then I just start thinking about sex. Have no idea why. I start thinking about all of the past escapades. My brain is just flowing with them, with those thoughts. Funny enough, the first night, a person came in my dream to grant me my first bit of knowledge was Tyler, the Creator. Like sugar on my tongue. So day 2, I guess makes some kind of sense. That's where my subconscious was. It brought a lot of comfort to me. It felt good to be in those spaces with those people and appreciate them, because that's a very intimate connection that you have. And the way in which those connections happened within these last 2 years, if you have been checking into the Hunter Tale podcast, which is dope and phenomenal and great, you would understand all of this. Everything from becoming a nudist in Portugal to the sex parties to the Qigong master who was breaking down sexual energy with us. And then you flow it into the soul of a man and all it would make sense why this was in my subconscious. So you would understand why this would be in my subconscious. But day 2, I begin to question, why is it that I believe in this spiritual shit? I grew up in a household that was new age paganism. That's what it is. We want to call it spirituality, but spirituality is mostly just paganism renamed because the Catholic Church makes you feel bad about calling yourself a pagan. So I grew up in a household that really embraced this spiritual life. And so we accept it. It's like if you grow up in a Christian house, you accept it. But I began to just question one of the leaders. His name is Chief Jeremy. He was said, While you're up there, this space is going to give the ancestors the ability to come to you. And so maybe they might bring you food or water. And then he left. They did not bring me food or water at all. I got food and water from the non-binary person. And the reason why I bring this up is because if we believe that everybody had all this contact with their ancestors from Africa to Asia to Latin America, then why didn't your ancestors warn you about the colonizers coming? And that kept running in my mind. It was like, you have all this touch with the spirit world, but the spirit world couldn't prepare you for what's going on, for the fact that most of y'all are wiped out. Hey, don't give them blankets, trust me. Nobody said anything. And that began to just run in my head. It's crazy that the people that do the best at this whole earthly thing tend to be the ones who live either without any form of God or with a more monotheistic current day God. Whatever you want that to be. Islamic, Judaism, Buddhist, whatever. But it typically ain't the spiritual folk. They typically don't do well at that. Hey, maybe this is the devil's world, if you want to look at it that way. But this is the things that were running in my mind while I'm laying there on the side of the mountain. And I begin to get angry because I'm like, why the hell am I laying here in the mountains trying to meet my ancestors? This is stupid. This is dumb. This is dumb. This is dumb. Most people don't want to make a mistake and then call it out. But I was thinking I wouldn't suggest a vision quest to a majority of you. Probably any of you, honestly. I would suggest a Vipassana, for sure. Vipassanas, that's up everybody's alley. But a vision quest, this takes a real type of outsider. And the reason why I wanted to do this vision quest is because at some point in my life, one, I wanted to see what I would see because it's called crying for a vision. I love my experience when I did ayahuasca. I love my experience when I did mushrooms, even though they were really challenging. I love my experience with cocaine. I love my experience with hallucinogens and stimulants. I do. I enjoy that. But I also know that when you do those things, that brain doesn't necessarily come back down with you. This brain needs you to fortify it while on this same level so that you can understand it once you come back down to this level. That's why the Vipassana, 10 days silence, no eye contact, no reading, no writing, 10-hour meditations for 10 days. That's why I would say, yeah, that's a great thing. That's a great thing because you come back with a lot. Ayahuasca, you come back with an understanding internal of how you felt. And that's not the same. And so that's what I was looking for in this Vipassana, as well as people go and they do this 4 times. You're now able to facilitate a sweat lodge, which at some point I really do want to facilitate sweat lodges. I want to bring it to the world because for what I do, which is stress exposure chambers, oh my God, this is a key to being able to just tap into yourself because it's just you and you. But I want to do it right. If I'm going to do it, I want to do it right, of course. So this is the step to doing that. But I'm still not fully convinced. Maybe it's my first time and I must do it again. And it's like having a baby. It really sucks while it's happening. And then looking back, you kind of go, well, I might do it again. That's where it is. At this point, I'm still in the hey, never again phase. But I also know that can easily change. By day 3, you're just praying for it to be over. Because the night before, we got hit with the hardest rain I've seen in San Cristobal since I've been here. It was like God just testing us. Oh, you think you bad. Throwing it down. And my tarp was Savior. It was my Savior. And I remember I fell asleep even through the rain because it's just in a tarp like a butterfly, a caterpillar coming out of a cocoon, but you're just in this tarp. And I fall asleep. And I wake up, it's pitch black, and all I hear is Oprah and Will Smith. And Will Smith is like, yeah, how could you do that to your own nephew? And I knew, I'm in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I know this episode. This is where Will. And so now I'm literally under this tarp trying to find the lights so that I can, turn on the show so I can be there. This is how out of it I was. After 2 days of no food and 2 days of no water, I'm trying to find the light switch in my tarp so that I can talk to Will Smith and Oprah Winfrey on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I didn't find the light switch, But I did tap in. I was like, oh, no, 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 no. You're on a vision quest. You're on a vision quest. You're on a vision quest. Oh, yeah. But now I have water pooling, coming down the side. And I'm like, wait, no, because I didn't expect for this rain to get as tumultuous as it got. So now I'm trying to fix my tarp, which you can see the videos. I took a couple of videos because I didn't want to make this about content. As you begin to learn while you're on this journey, which is content creation, but also living, that I don't want my life to become content for y'all. My life is a real life, a proper life, like a hell of a life, but it's a life. And I don't want everything just to be for you guys to eat. No, no. But rest to say, those ancestors never did come. My mom came. My mom showed up. She was in the Tyler the Creator pitch the first day. She showed up. I don't remember what she was talking about. But I do remember Tyler was saying that you just, be you, bro. Be you. Be you, bro. Because who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? I was like, oh, all right, thought I was doing that. Thanks. The second day, the dreams begin to become very fuzzy. Like, I know I was dreaming, but it was like, you're not really sure what's a dream, or like, was I asleep? Okay, yeah, I was asleep because I'm laying here. So I was definitely asleep, but I don't remember any time passing. And I had my phone, so I had the ability to just check the time. And I would look, and it would be like 20 minutes. You'll be like, wait, okay, it had to be at least 2 hours, 48 minutes. Oh my God, this day is going so slow. Oh, and it's about to rain. And so that just became this constant battle. San Chris is also a very cold place, so the mountains froze you. But going into that last night, I remember just after the rain, I woke up to not something tapping me, but something like walking in the field that I'm in. And I know this is particular because there should be nothing in this area. But there's something in this area. And I wake up, I peek out my little tarp, and it's a white dog looking at me. And my hands clutch up. Like, I'm like, because I haven't seen a thing except for birds in like the last 2.5 days. Now I have a full white dog looking at me, and I'm in a tarp. I haven't had water or food. And the dog takes off running. I'm like, whoa, was that a real dog? Because it's really beginning to break the difference between what you're seeing as compared to what you know, right? And so the dog goes running away, and I actually begin to ask people that were in the ceremony with me, because we're all plotted on different hierarchies of the mountain, if anybody else had seen a dog. Some people said, yeah, I saw a dog. And some people said, no, we hadn't seen a dog. But the specific dog, which was a white dog, nobody had said they saw it. But this was like not a husky, but a Doberman, white, random as hell, but almost glowing in the darkness, because there's no lights out here. We're in the mountains. You don't see much, but I see this white dog staring at me and go running off. So I'm going to go ahead and say that might be my Vanessa. Shout out to my white girl. Love you though. So now day 4 comes. You're just ready to be done. That's all. You're angry because you're ready to be done. That's where we are. And after they come and get you, I hop up. I'm ready. I'm already packed. Let's walk you down. You go down. And I didn't know this. They were like, let's get ready for another nippy. So now after this entire ordeal, you have to go into another nippy, sweat lodge, but more extreme. This sweat lodge was so intense for other people. Tears are funneling. I can't see everybody. You can just hear them when they're talking and explaining their experience. You could hear crying. One dude next to me, it's his 4th time. It's his last time doing this. Now he's official. It's like he got a black belt in spirituality. I'm just like, ugh, it's about to be hot. But you do what you do. And we made it happen. And after I came out, I still wonder, if y'all had this much entouchment with your ancestors, why did they not warn you that some white dudes were about to come musket you in the face? Nobody gave y'all the telltale sign that, yo, we up in the spiritual world. We saw what they're doing on their side. Just FYI. Nobody told y'all that. So I'm not fully convinced, but that's why I'm on this journey. Because I want to understand why it is that we're a human. And so the one thing that I got, the one tip that I took from this experience that will embody the knowledge that I gained during this time was be cool. Just be cool. Just be cool. There were times where I got to decide, am I going to be angry or am I going to be cool? And it's much better to just go ahead and be cool. Like I remember I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I'm tired. And you hear them because, like I said, you have supporters. The supporters are keeping a fire lit for 4 days straight. So that means they're always attending to this fire. They're, whoa, whoa. And you hear this from the distance. So they're always engaged. They're eating 2 times as much, according to B. You're eating 2 times as much because they're eating for me and they're eating for them, and they give a food offering to the fire, which, to be fair, if you look on the internet, it says a man can only go 3 days without food and water. Maybe a week if you're in good health. Not only did I do this, but there were women who were in their 60s and 70s who also did this, and they were able to walk back afterwards. So there's something to be said about the ability to connect at least the physicality of people, because I'm not sure I could have done it alone. So that's why I'm willing to still explore, because it's not as obvious as yes or no, but it's a duality. There's probably a lot of truth in the lie, and there's probably a lot of lies inside of the truth. And that's what we're looking for, Chief. So we got a big adventure coming up in the next couple of weeks, as long as they let me on the flight, because I don't have my yellow fever booklet. But the journey continues. This is more than the Hunter Tale podcast. This is my life. All love to y'all. Tap in whenever.